terms of the data side, or is it just like a really good, like a really good school that's not technically Ivy League?
So I don't know about their data science, data analytics program, but I know the quality of developers that come out of there is fantastic. If they have a data science program, I would suspect that it's going to be high quality. They turn out great content. Again, the risk is on their back, right? So if they don't give you a good education and that doesn't translate into a new job for you, they're the ones who just lost all that money.
Yeah, their revenue only comes from your success, which is why I'm really intrigued by that school, like the way you mentioned it, because that's a very good business model where you're invested. Yeah, their success is dependent on the success of their students.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say, a lot of the larger institutions. Case Western Reserve, which is near Cleveland, where I'm from, Berkeley, and a lot of other schools have data science programs that are, so they're kind of trying to fill this gap and trying to get on board with the new age education as well. So they don't want to lose out. They don't want to try and have the market bypass them. So I think a lot of them are trying to get involved in this new learning that's going on.
Definitely. And it's so funny, just the simple fact of education, like just education as a whole. Let's take a step back, like just schools in general, have nothing to do with IT, just regular basic schools. How many schools are now going to have to expand and create digital platforms, like proprietary digital platforms for their own individual schools? Because that's obviously the direction it's going to be going,
Tons, man. The last, I'd say the last 5 to 10 years, more and more has moved online. Like 10 years ago, everything was, within classrooms. And, you may have gotten a couple of introductory classes that were online. Now you can get MBAs online from hundreds of universities. And with that, how are they differentiating, right? So if it's got to be content, it's got to be quality education. The market itself, I think is going to flush out a lot of people who are either late to the show or the ones that aren't really able to provide and compete with others. Colleges typically, larger institutions, they were supporting kind of local communities, and there's tons. I think per capita, Ohio has more colleges and universities than any other state. But they're all fighting for the same online traffic now. They're all trying to figure out how do I get my MBA program online recognized? How do we get it to be one where people in other states want to take? So I feel like they're all competing harder now. It's I would think the cost of college is going to go down because of it, but that continues to rise over time.
But but the good thing for people like you and people who do take the time to use this quarantine to pick up these skills in whatever field, whether it's data analytics, IT, but take this time to get these certifications, you can come out of the quarantine in a better position, because all of these things we mentioned are just expanding the market for jobs, because all of these schools with all of these online programs we're talking about, it's going to happen to colleges, but it's going to happen to middle school, junior high schools, private schools, high schools, schools across the nation. This is just expanding the need for back-end IT professionals, because there's going to still be the need for people to build these infrastructures, maintain, operate these infrastructures, and then after they're maintained and operated, you still need someone to protect it from hackers. So it's just like all I see is just this field is just constantly going to expand to the point where, and one of the advantages that you have, and you tell people, and it was one of the things I was always telling people about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, because the industry was so new and constantly evolving. You can start getting educated now and catch up to the most educated person, because there's going to be a lot of information that person knew that's going to be outdated, and it's really going to be about who has the better grasp of the technology that is applying and working now and towards the future.
Absolutely. And, a couple things with that, like big picture in the last, 20 some years I've been doing this, things have largely 50,000 foot view, not changed. It's Windows 95, 98, 2000, like a computer is a computer is a computer, and a server is a server. Now it might be in somebody else's data center and they might call it a cloud. Storage is storage.
But the hardware is somewhere. The hardware is somewhere.
Yeah, it has. I mean, definitely at the kind of in the trenches, it's changed. But the 50,000 foot view has not changed. And I think a lot of people are probably scared to get an IT. And over the years, things have gotten easier too. I mean, you can't be scared of breaking things. You can't be scared of trying it. It really is. It's that simple. Just don't, set that fear aside and just try it, and you'll find out that it's not that hard. Security, people, think, hackers and, all of these, things that are going on, and, it seems scary. It's no different than protecting your house. And,
it's like, what's the front door? You just close the front door, close the back door. Close the windows.
You lock your windows, keep your shit off your porch. Don't make it easy. And you know what's going to happen? It's an opportunity at crime. Your neighbor's going to get hit instead of you because he's going to leave his windows open, or he's going to leave stuff on his porch. So it's, it really is that simple when you try and distill it down to, okay, well, I just got to do the basics and I got to do them well. Well, what are the basics? Well, there's, videos and articles and tons of stuff out there to tell you what they are.
And yeah, this is dope. Like, I'm really glad we did this episode because, like, I definitely think for someone who has no prospects and doesn't have a degree, this should be a person who has no streams of revenue right now outside of unemployment, and they don't necessarily have a college degree, and they're in a situation where they need to make the pivot, and they need to make the pivot to something else. This should be a very exciting proposition, especially the fact that you're mentioning places that they can actually go and get this education for free. So I really think, a lot of people, I think the winners, I feel like this is like this whole coronavirus. It's less the coronavirus, but more the reaction. But that's a whole different discussion for a different day. But this whole oh shit, my mic dropped. Sorry. This whole corona thing is more. It's like It's like the flood. It's like the flood in the Noah's Ark and shit. And it's like the people who are going to be on Noah's Ark are the people that pivot and prepare themselves for the future. They're the people that have essential skills that are going to be valued in the future. And they're the people who were in a position where they may have been phased out during this time. They kind of took that time to kind of pivot and reinvent themselves and just find another way. So, this is an industry that we both know for a fact is going to expand by hook or by crook, no matter how long people are in isolation. Matter of fact, one can even argue that the longer isolation continues, the greater the market share will expand. I mean, one could legitimately make a debatable argument for that,
Yeah.
So I definitely think...
a lot of pent-up demand.
Exactly. So I definitely think people need to take a hard look at this. Do you, I don't know if you want me to plug your Twitter for people to reach out to you if they have any questions that they may want to talk. Sure. So your Twitter is Slide Into Home, right?
Yep.
It's just Slide Into Home, straight up, at Slide Into Home. Yep. So guys, if y'all want to reach out to him, and that's what I'm saying, when you see him, you're going to see his Avi, he's low key with it. So you're not even going to know, wow, this is a dude with this type of depth of information. So again, I keep telling people all the time, man, don't sleep on the person that you're tweeting, because you really don't even know who's behind the keyboard.
Absolutely.
So thank you, Chris. I definitely want to do a follow-up episode with you later on, because I want to do some more research into it, and I definitely feel like a lot of people are going to start looking into this and have follow-up questions. So I really think this is something, I think this is a great kickoff to like this pivot series that I'm doing, because this is a pivot right here. Like we're giving people a pivot that can be accomplished within the time before the quarantine is up. So
absolutely, man.
This is good.
People may think it's too hard or they're not smart enough, but I'll tell you what, anybody with focus and hustle can get it done. I ran my first marathon probably 15 years ago, and when I first started running, I didn't think there was any way I could do it. But I went out and I trained for 16 or 18 weeks, and I finished the race. And this is the same thing: one foot in front of the other. Go do your homework every day, and you'll look back after 2, 3, 6 months and say, look at how far I've come. Look at all that I've done. You just can't be scared. Go get it done.
Dope. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate that. You got any other final words? I mean, that was a really good final piece right there. But in case you had anything else you wanted to share with the people.
No, just to, if people have questions, reach out to me, either, to Carl, if you get anything, send them over. I'm glad to point people in any direction and help them out. It keeps me fresh. I don't have all the answers, but I know people and I can get them.
Dope. All right, man. Chris, thank you, man. I appreciate you for coming on here.
Anytime, Carl.
All right, have a good one.